The crystal wine glasses clinked softly against each other as my sister Madison adjusted the perfectly set Christmas dinner table, each place setting probably worth more than a month's rent at my first shop. Everything in her mansion screamed old money and refined taste, exactly what our family valued most. "Emma's here," my brother William called out, his voice carrying that familiar note of condescension. "Still driving that beat-up Honda, sis?" I hung my coat in the marble-floored entryway, clutching the small gift bags I'd brought. Inside each one was a handcrafted piece from my jewelry store, though I knew they'd probably never wear them. After all, why would they want anything from my little hobby shop, when they could afford Cartier? "At least she made it this year," Madison said, emerging from the dining room in her designer dress. "Usually too busy with that tiny store of hers." I forced a smile, remembering the real reason I was here tonight. Tomorrow morning, everything would change, but they didn't know that yet. "My name is Emma Collins, owner of what my family loves to call my cute little jewelry shop. What they don't know is that Collins Artisan Jewelry is just the public face of my real empire, Phoenix Luxury Brands, one of the fastest-growing luxury retail conglomerates in the world." "Emma, darling." My mother air-kissed my cheeks, careful not to smudge her perfect makeup. "We were just discussing William's new position as VP at Goldman Sachs. And Madison's husband is about to make partner at his law firm." "That's wonderful," I said, taking a seat at the table. "The shop's doing well too. "Oh honey," my mother interrupted, "you don't have to pretend with us. We know small businesses are struggling these days." If only they knew that my small business had just acquired their precious Madison's favorite luxury brand last week. The paperwork would be public tomorrow morning, along with Forbes' annual billionaire list. "Speaking of business," William smirked, swirling his expensive bourbon, "I drove past your shop the other day. Still in that shabby part of town, huh? You know, I could help you get a real job. Entry-level positions are always opening up." I thought about the corner office I had in my real headquarters 40 stories above Manhattan, with a view that made William's VP office look like a storage closet. "I'm happy where I am," I replied, taking a sip of wine. "Actually, we're expanding. "Emma dear," my mother cut in again, "there's no shame in admitting when something isn't working out. Your father always said you should have gone into banking like William." "Yes, my father. The man who refused to loan me $10,000 to start my business 10 years ago, calling it a waste of time and money. He'd passed away 2 years ago, never knowing that his misguided daughter had built a multi-billion-dollar empire." Madison's husband George chimed in. "You know, Emma, my firm handles a lot of bankruptcy cases. If you need some advice." I bit back a laugh, remembering how my company had just bought out his firm's biggest client last month. They didn't know that either. "Actually," I started, but was interrupted by the butler announcing dinner was served. As we moved to the dining room, I checked my phone quickly. A message from my CO, "Everything's set for tomorrow's announcement. Forbes article goes live at 8 a.m. Perfect. The dinner was exactly what I expected, a parade of my siblings' accomplishments, punctuated by concerned looks and backhanded comments about my struggling business. "Did you hear about Phoenix Luxury Brands?" William mentioned between bites of perfectly cooked prime rib. "They're shaking up the entire luxury retail market. Very mysterious founder though. Nobody knows who's really behind it." I focused on my plate, hiding my smile. "Oh, yes, absolutely brilliant strategy," he continued, always eager to prove his business acumen. "They start by acquiring small artisan workshops, then leverage the craftsmanship to build luxury brands. They've bought out half the high-end jewelry market in the past year. Including your wife's favorite boutique, dear brother," I thought to myself. Speaking of jewelry, Madison interjected, fidgeting with her massive diamond necklace. "Emma, you should see the new pieces George bought me from Luminance Jewelers. Now that's real luxury." I nodded politely, not mentioning that I'd signed the acquisition papers for Luminance Jewelers just last week. Tomorrow Madison would learn that her precious boutique was now part of my tiny shop's portfolio. "You know," my mother added, "it's not too late to sell that store and do something more substantial. You're not getting any younger, dear." I thought about the Forbes photo shoot I'd done last week, carefully staged to hide my face. The mysterious E.C. Phoenix, founder of Phoenix Luxury Brands, valued at $12.8 billion. Tomorrow's headline would shock the luxury retail world and my family. I'm fine, Mom. The store is doing better than you think. William laughed, nearly choking on his wine. Better? Emma, let's be real. You're running a tiny jewelry shop in the bad part of town. Meanwhile, Madison's on the board of 3 charities. I'm handling billion-dollar accounts and you're, what? Selling trinkets to tourists. I was about to respond when Madison's daughter Sophie burst into the room, waving her phone excitedly. Mom, did you see? Luminance Jewelers just announced they're being sold. All their social media accounts are going crazy. Madison's face fell. What? No, that's impossible. George, didn't you just buy me that necklace from them last week? I checked my watch, 7:45 p.m. Seems like some news was leaking early. Who bought them? George demanded, pulling out his phone. Some company called Phoenix Luxury Brands, Sophie read from her screen. They're buying like everything these days. William straightened in his chair, suddenly interested. Phoenix? They're the ones I was just talking about. Nobody knows who runs it, just some mysterious CEO who never appears in public. I heard they're announcing their full portfolio tomorrow, George added, scrolling through his phone. Along with the founder's identity. It's been the biggest secret in the luxury market. I stood up, gathering my things. I should probably head out. Big day at the shop tomorrow. Oh honey, my mother sighed, don't work too hard at that little store. There's no shame in admitting defeat. I hugged her goodbye, knowing it would be the last time she'd ever call it my little store. Thanks for dinner, Madison. William, good luck with those billion-dollar accounts. As I drove home in my beat-up Honda, actually a carefully chosen prop to maintain my cover, I called my assistant. Is everything ready for tomorrow? Yes, Miss Phoenix. The Forbes article goes live at 8 a.m., followed by the press conference at 10. Your family's going to have quite a morning. I smiled, thinking about the look on their faces when they realized that their failing sister was about to become one of the most powerful figures in luxury retail. One more thing, I added. Send a messenger to Madison's house tomorrow morning with the latest financial reports. I want them to see exactly how tiny my business is. Back in my real home, a penthouse overlooking Central Park, I changed out of my deliberately modest dinner outfit into something more fitting for a billionaire suit. Tomorrow I would finally step out of the shadows, revealing to the world and my family that the mysterious EC Phoenix was actually Emma Collins, the sister they'd mocked for a decade. I picked up the latest acquisition report from my desk. Phoenix Luxury Brands now owned 40% of the high-end jewelry market, including every boutique my sister shopped at and every brand my brother invested in. We were about to announce 3 more major acquisitions, sending shockwaves through the luxury retail world. Not bad for a tiny shop, I thought, pouring myself a glass of champagne that cost more than my siblings' monthly salaries combined. Tomorrow would be interesting indeed. The next morning I sat in my real office, a stunning glass-walled sanctuary atop the Phoenix building watching the sunrise over Manhattan. In exactly 1 hour Forbes would publish their annual billionaire list, and my carefully constructed facade would crumble. My phone buzzed. A text from Madison, turn on CNBC. They're talking about Phoenix Luxury Brands again. I smiled, switching on the massive wall-mounted screen. The financial news anchor was mid-sentence. And sources say the mysterious founder of Phoenix Luxury Brands will finally be revealed today, along with several major acquisitions that could reshape the luxury retail landscape. Another text, this time from William. Are you watching this? Biggest story in luxury retail. This is what real business looks like, sis. If only he knew. At exactly 8 a.m. my phone exploded with notifications. The Forbes article had gone live. I opened it, already knowing what I'd see. Unveiled. The secret billionaire behind Phoenix Luxury Brands by Forbes staff. In a shocking revelation that's sending ripples through the luxury retail world, Forbes can exclusively reveal that EC Phoenix, the mysterious founder of Phoenix Luxury Brands, is Emma Collins, a 35-year-old entrepreneur who started with a single jewelry store 10 years ago. Collins, who ranks number 3 on our billionaire list with an estimated net worth of $12.8 billion, has built her empire in complete secrecy, transforming a small artisan jewelry shop into one of the most powerful luxury conglomerates in the world. The first call came 3 minutes later. Madison. I let it go to voicemail. Then William. Ignored. My mother declined. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. Ms. Collins, your siblings are in the lobby. They're quite insistent about coming up. I checked my appearance in the reflection of the window. Designer suit perfectly pressed, not a hair out of place. Send them up. The elevator doors opened and there they stood. Madison, her perfect composure shattered. William, his face red with a mixture of anger and disbelief. And George, clutching a copy of Forbes like it might bite him. Hello, I said calmly. Coffee. This is a joke, Madison sputtered, waving her phone. It has to be a joke. The company that just bought Luminance? I replied, walking to my desk. That's mine. Along with every other luxury boutique you've bragged about shopping at for the past year. William stepped forward, his banking expertise kicking in. But the market share, the acquisitions, the valuation. All real. I pressed a button and the wall of screens behind me lit up, displaying Phoenix Luxury Brands' portfolio. Every brand, every boutique, every acquisition, all built from that tiny shop you loved to mock. But last night, Madison collapsed into one of the visitor chairs. You let us laugh, make jokes, offer bankruptcy advice. I smiled. Yes, I did. I wanted one last family dinner with the old dynamic. For posterity. George was frantically scrolling through his phone. The firm's biggest client. The luxury mall development. Also mine, I confirmed. Phoenix Retail Properties, a subsidiary of Phoenix Luxury Brands. We own 60% of the high-end retail space in Manhattan. The elevator dinged again. My mother stepped out looking like she'd aged 10 years overnight. Emma, she whispered. Why didn't you tell us? I leaned back against my desk, taking in their shocked faces. Tell you what, exactly? That the daughter you dismissed as a failure built a multi-billion-dollar empire? That while you were bragging about charity boards and VP titles, I was acquiring the very brands you used to prove your success. We could have helped, William protested weakly. Like you helped when I asked Dad for a startup loan? Like you helped when you told every family friend not to invest in my doomed business. Madison stood up suddenly. The Christmas gifts. Those jewelry pieces you gave us. Original Collins artisan pieces, I nodded. Worth about $500,000 each now since we limited production. Though you probably threw them in a drawer somewhere, didn't you? My mother stepped forward, tears in her eyes. Darling, we never meant to. To what? Humiliate me at every family gathering? Treat my business like a joke? Spend years telling me to give up and get a real job. I walked to the window looking out at the city I now partially owned. Do you know why I kept the shop? Why I pretended to be struggling while building all this? Because I wanted to see if any of you would ever support me without knowing about my success. If you would ever value me for more than just status and money. The silence in the room was deafening. The press conference starts in an hour, I continued. Phoenix Luxury Brands is announcing 3 more major acquisitions, including the takeover of our largest competitor. After that, I'm doing an exclusive interview with Forbes about the secret billionaire story. What do you want from us? William asked quietly. I turned to face them. Nothing. I have everything I could want. The question is, what do you want from me? Madison stepped forward, her designer heels clicking on the marble floor. Emma, we're family. Family. I laughed. Last night you were embarrassed to claim me as family. What changed? The number in my bank account. We were wrong, my mother whispered. So terribly wrong. I picked up a folder from my desk and handed it to her. Inside were photos of my first shop, newspaper clippings of my early success, and the original business plan my father had called a waste of time. Yes, you were. Every time you mocked my tiny shop, I was signing million-dollar acquisition deals. Every time you gave me career advice, I was building an empire. Every time you pitted me for my struggling business, I was buying out your favorite luxury brands. The morning sun streamed through the windows, casting long shadows across my family's shocked faces. On the screens behind them, CNBC was still discussing the Phoenix Luxury Brands revelation, my high school graduation photo now plastered across financial news worldwide. The press conference starts soon, I said, checking my watch. You're welcome to stay and watch. See what a real job looks like. They stayed, of course. sat in stunned silence as I revealed the next phase of Phoenix Luxury Brand's expansion to the world. Watched as their failing sister announced acquisitions worth billions, outlining a vision that would revolutionize luxury retail. Afterward, as reporters clamored for interviews and photographers captured the moment the secret billionaire emerged from the shadows, Madison approached me. "The necklace you gave me last Christmas," she said quietly. I did keep it. It was beautiful. I was just too proud to admit it." I nodded. "Pride seems to run in the family. What happens now?" William asked, his earlier arrogance replaced by uncertainty. "Now." I smiled. "Now I run my empire openly. No more hiding, no more pretending. And you all get to decide whether you want to be part of my success story or just another cautionary tale about judging too quickly." My mother stepped forward one last time. "Your father. He would have been proud." "No," I corrected her. "He would have been surprised. There's a difference." That evening, after the media frenzy had died down, I returned to my tiny shop. The place where it all began. The modest storefront still bore the simple sign, "Collins Artisan Jewelry." I unlocked the door, breathing in the familiar scent of leather and metal. On the workbench lay an unfinished piece, a complex, handcrafted necklace that would sell for more than my brother's annual bonus. My phone buzzed with messages from luxury retailers worldwide, all desperate to either partner with or sell to Phoenix Luxury Brands. But here in my little shop, none of that mattered. I sat down at the workbench, picked up my tools, and began working on the necklace. Because despite the billions, despite the empire, despite the vindication, this was still what I loved most, creating beauty with my own hands. The next morning's newspapers all carried the same story: how a young woman turned a single jewelry shop into a luxury empire, all while her family mocked her success. But they missed the real story: how sometimes the greatest revenge isn't proving others wrong but proving yourself right. My tiny shop was now the cornerstone of a global luxury brand. My family's condescension had become embarrassed admiration. And that beat-up Honda? I still drive it to work sometimes just to remind myself where I came from. After all, success isn't about what others see. It's about what you build when no one's looking. And I had built something extraordinary, one careful piece at a time, just like the jewelry I still loved to create. The Forbes magazine sat on my workbench, my face on the cover, the headline bold and clear: "The Secret Billionaire. How Emma Collins Built a Luxury Empire While No One Was Watching." Not bad for a tiny shop indeed.